Welcome back, CGC family. Held off making this video for a couple of weeks. Really, I was trying to see exactly how things were going to go down. Realistically, I did not expect for the ABK deal to go through by now. But I also didn't expect I guess you could say, vitriol that has followed that entire situation. This has been interesting, uh, eye opening, funny as all hell. But most importantly, it has been thought provoking, to say the least. So many of you probably have already guessed this, but I'm a pretty older gamer. Like, I'm in my 40s. Um, but since I first played a video game, which I believe was like Arkanoid on like an Atari, uh, I've always been interested in it. The idea that games could go beyond like simply your imagination or board game or anything like that. So I followed the industry since I was old enough to read and follow magazines, going back to like Game Pro, Old School Game Informer, EGM, Next Gen, which was a pretty cool one. Uh, my history with it goes back pretty far. Let's just say that. So I've seen all of the nonsense and the cutthroat politics that these companies can have with each other. And Jim Ryan's recent reaction to, let's just say, the situation with Microsoft and the Activision Blizzard deal has been nothing short of comedic. And again, like I said, it's been giving me time to think. Now, part of me wanted to go ahead and the first day he said what he said, get on the YouTube here and start blasting him about it. But then I had to think about it for a minute because I playing devil's advocate. Maybe he has a point, right? Maybe he has a point. Maybe it isn't fair. I want to make sure that I'm not just getting on here spewing out nonsense, and hell, even if in being careful, somebody's going to think I'm sitting here spewing nonsense. My honest opinion, and those who listen to this are going to take it the way they want to. That guy needs to shut the hell up. He needs to shut up. This is typical of business. Like, man, I've lived through Nintendo being cutthroat to the point where they're saying, well, yeah, if you sell Genesis consoles or Master System consoles in your store, you can forget about getting Nintendo shipments. And Nintendo was the hottest selling toy in that space at the time. So imagine telling KB Toys, for you young folks, that was basically like the competitor to Toys R Us or Toys R Us. And if again, for you young folks, that was a place that sold toys and games before Amazon. But imagine telling them, yeah, if you sell the competition stuff, you're not gonna get ours to sell. And even if we do allow you to do it, there will be other things Nintendo will do. Like, yeah, so you can only give them this much shelf space, and it can't be anywhere near ours. It has to be somewhere hidden. Like, imagine artificially fixing the game so that you can win. You know what I mean? Pretty cruel stuff. That's why, like, Nintendo's low years, I really didn't feel bad for them because they kind of had it coming. It's good they're coming back now. I don't ever want Nintendo to go away. I don't want Sony to go away. Hell, I really don't want Microsoft to go away because, I mean, Sega's never going to be what they were again. They don't have the money backing them that they had in the 90s and the 80s. And in my opinion, there's always been three major choices, more or less, than there always should be three major choices. But I'll say this, man, like the Jim Ryan guy, I mean, whatever you want to call him, dance moves Jim, compliant Jim, Jamaican Jim. I've seen that one on Iron Lord's podcast. Whatever you want to call him, you gotta admit this motherfucker's having a rough go of it, right? Like he's really not the quote. I believe was that Xbox's offer of years of Call of Duty being on PlayStation was inadequate, and that we want PlayStation gamers to have the what is it? He didn't say superior. I believe he said the basically the absolute best Call of Duty experience. You know, I understand the fear that people have when it comes to industry consolidation and all of these companies getting swallowed up and a lot of games being published under one or two or three companies. But what you guys don't understand, especially younger folks, is this has already happened before. This is not really news. In fact, this kind of has to happen. This is the life cycle of the game industry. You know, when a company gets too big and they creatively become bankrupt and stagnant, you know, they stop making the money they were making before, and they end up getting devoured by a company who is either going to use that IP that they haven't been using, change the culture, and make them into something relevant again. Like Sony bought Naughty Dog, and this is not nearly as good as an example, but look at Naughty Dog's history before Sony, you know, published Crash Bandicoot and then purchased them. Naughty Dog was making some terrible shit. Naughty Dog was making like bad Mortal Kombat clones and basically a game. What was it called? Rings of Power, I think, or something like that on the Sega Genesis. I think the most notable thing about it, I mean, I guess some people liked it, but I think the most notable thing about it was that there was a code where you get a new woman on the title screen. Like, this is the company that makes like Sony's probably biggest and most beloved games at this point. So you have to, you have to realize that sometimes acquisition is good, because when a company clearly needs a culture change, and no one can sit here and tell me that Activision Blizzard King doesn't need a culture change. I mean, let's just be serious. Bobby Kotick needs to go. He doesn't belong in the game industry. I don't think he belongs anywhere. The things he's been accused of, the things he's let happen, slide under his watch, have been egregious, to say the least. He doesn't need to be involved with what Activision is doing. In fact, you can look at the amount of games that the IP that they own, and how many of them aren't being made anymore, or were the market was flooded or oversaturated with them, and now they're essentially dead franchises because it was too much of them. He's doing it to Call of Duty as of right now. I mean, luckily, like Call of Duty 2019 is going to have a 2-year life cycle, I believe. They're not bringing out a new Call of Duty next year. And that has nothing to do with Microsoft, because Microsoft doesn't currently officially own them yet. But, I'm pretty sure Kotick was pissed about that, or is pissed about it. But hopefully, once this deal goes through, he won't have to worry about it anymore, because his ass won't be working there. But back to our buddy Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan has to be this man just can't stop talking. Like, if it's not, we believe in generations, and then we'll be supporting the PS4 for 4 more years. There was something else he said. It was like a blatant lie, and then he had to walk that shit back. And now he says this: "You're not giving us Call of Duty But for 3 years after the agreement is over with, which I believe the agreement is like 2 or 3 years left on it. So 2 plus 3 is 5 more years. That's the rest of the generation if we go by the average number of years that a generation lasts. So you're looking at 8 years here. You're going to get Call of Duty for the next 8 years. I felt a kind of way when during the Brazilian review of this deal, you know, they were basically saying things like, there's no developer who can make a game akin to or close to Call of Duty. It is a cultural icon, yada yada yada. We can't do shit, basically. And I'm looking at that and I'm like, you guys just bought Bungie, and then the insult to Bungie. I don't care if it was corporate speak for the sake of corporate speak, or, we're just saying this to get by. It's still bullshit. It's a terrible thing to say, right? It's a screwed up thing to say. It's a terrible thing to say. It shouldn't have happened. This idea that, you don't own the SOCOM franchise, that you don't own Killzone. You have plenty of shooters, Sony, that you could turn into something akin to Call of Duty. Will you hit Call of Duty's numbers? No, but Call of Duty comes out on everything. That's the difference. You're not going to hit Call of Duty's numbers because you're only going to put it on PlayStation. So it's just, I love the SOCOM games, right? This is probably one of the first shooters I played several hours of online. Between that, Halo 2, and Unreal Championship Edition on Xbox, that's probably one of the games I played. I put a lot of time in, right? And the fact that Sony owns that, and they have essentially ignored it for like 1.5 generations now, because it came out. The last major SOCOM I remember them bringing out was the one that was a PS3 release, and I believe it came out, unfortunately, around the time of that big hack. As a matter of fact, it was that and Mortal Kombat 9. Both came out around the time that they had that real nasty business on PS3 where the services were hacked, and it was like a month or something where you couldn't access any kind of online services on PlayStation. So I think that game suffered from that. That plus it wasn't that good of a game, but I mean, hell, nobody knocks it out the park all the time, right? Maybe there was a Vita game or something like that after that, but it's like they haven't really tried. Like, if you look at Sony's lineup of games from late PS3 on to now, it has been third-person action-adventure games. That's all they make. Mind you, they're very good at them. No one can deny that. They're very good at making that style of game. But, like, there is no diversity there. I mean, you want to talk about Halo, Gears, Forza with Microsoft. It's like, there's a meme I saw that, while it ignores several different aspects of these games, it kind of summed up the PlayStation experience, right? It was like, Uncharted with zombies. Uncharted with zombies and a kid following you. Uncharted with robot dinosaurs. And if you go by the obviously snarky descriptions, I'm giving you found Days Gone, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn. There was even Uncharted with a samurai sword, which is Ghost of Tsushima. So it's just like, they don't really push the boundaries anymore, and they used to do that. Like, even like Gravity Rush, Patapon, Parappa the Rapper. Where are those games? They don't make them anymore because they don't have to, because they pay publishers to be ambitious, and then they pay those publishers who are being ambitious to just keep their games either exclusive on their platform or give their games exclusive aspects on the PlayStation version. Like, they're paying for Final Fantasy 16 exclusivity, but Sony has an RPG series that a lot of people have been begging for them to make again, which I believe is called Legends of Dragoon? It's a Legends of Dragoon. They made one game. Then they ditched it. Because they kind of knew, right, that they were going to get the Final Fantasy exclusive. Like, I think Final Fantasy 7, they kind of didn't know if they would go back to Nintendo or whatever, but they stuck with them. 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 11 is when it went on to 360, and then 12 only came out on PlayStation 2, and 13 came out on everything. But I think around 11 is when they started splintering things, because I think Tactics Advance came out on Game Boy Advance. Things started getting a little shaky for them, but like they stopped being ambitious. Why haven't we gotten a Twisted Metal in a generation and some change? Where the hell is SOCOM? Why did you just stop making Killzone after the last game? I mean, mind you, I understand the team is making Horizon, which is a pretty big deal game. Great game, actually. But why did you stop? This deal needs to happen because something needs to light a fire under Sony's ass. Sony is sitting on a large number of great IP that desperately need to be remade, come back, modernized, whatever you want to call it. And like, why haven't we gotten a Jackson Daxter? What's really going on with Sly Cooper? All of these games that, you know, they get, like, I think they got the Crash Bandicoot trilogy. They got it earlier than the other consoles because they money had it some with Activision, and it's like, dude, you could have used that money to make a new Sly Cooper game or something. They're too damn used to doing this. And the problem that Microsoft has fixed with themselves when it comes to buying developers who have IPs that are dormant that they can bring back is the problem that's also going to be solved by them buying Activision, bringing back titles that they have abandoned for years, like Hexen and Guitar Hero and perhaps Tony Hawk, things of that nature. And Sony then being forced, because they're going to know we're not getting that, to make their own stuff again. Because, honestly, dude, like, me personally, I enjoy Sony's games, but like, I can't play it. Like, I beat Horizon Zero Dawn, platinumed it, loved that game. Don't feel like jumping right back into that world again. And honestly, it kind of burnt me out on playing anything Sony makes. I got a couple of Sony games I need to finish. I tried to go right back into Ghost of Tsushima after that. Couldn't do it. It's like, dude, it feels like I'm playing the same damn game. I'm sneaking. I'm climbing up walls. You know what I'm saying? I'm sneaking around in bushes. I'm climbing up walls. I'm shooting arrows and shit. It's literally the same game. The story is different. The setting's different. The art style is obviously different. But it's the same goddamn game. And if you honestly take a look at everything they make, it's the same shit over and over again. It's good. I'm not saying it's not good, but it is very, very blah as far as like diversity and, you know, whatever. So I hope this thing happens. Jim Ryan needs to shut the hell up. He's kind of just making it like the fact that you're ignoring that you have constantly, well, not necessarily you because he just got in charge, right? But the fact that he's ignoring that his company has constantly done anti-competitive shit, keeping things off of Xbox, keeping features out of Xbox, launching features in the game a year later when the sequel to that game comes out at the end of said year, which means even if they do get that component of the game, it's not going to matter anymore because everybody's moving on to the next one. I'm speaking specifically about the Call of Duty games. It's 1% of the game. Who cares? You're giving it to them at the time where the new game comes out. Who the hell's going to be playing it still? A small number of people in comparison to the large population that game pulls in, but like, be serious. Pointless. I hope this deal goes through. I'm pretty confident it will be going through. It'll probably take until next year sometime to get done. But like, man, Sony needs a kick in the ass, and losing the ability to have another major publisher to money hadn't throw cash yet is probably going to be a good part of that. We shall see though, and thank you for listening to me rant about this, and I'll catch you in the next video.